Good early Sunday morning, ADRP race fans. Brett Hoare here with the one, the only, the man with no name, because you know his name, Mr. Keith Haney.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning, Keith. How are you?
Uh,
We've got a little delay, so we'll have to be careful this morning. How are you going?
I'm doing good. Just sitting here, taking a little drive. Had to go run an errand, and got my little old 2017 Z06 here. I'll just let y'all hear a little bit of it. Yeah, there we go. There's your 120.
So it's pretty hard for you to get a spare car with you owning only 8 dealerships now.
I'm sorry, I had to let it calm down a little bit there. I couldn't hear.
Okay, sorry. I was just commenting it would be very hard for you to get a car on the weekends now that you only own 8 dealerships.
yeah. I like to have a little bit of fun, Usually I drive a Tahoe every day, and the reason why is you can put everything in it. I'm a coach on a baseball team, and I'm a coach on a football team, and I'm a dad, and I'm a big taxi and all that stuff. But, my son makes me, every once in a while, he'll say, hey, Dad, drive a Corvette home, drive a Z06 home for the weekend, and then take me to school in it on Monday. He's 9 years old, so, I try to accommodate him as much as I can. He's my best friend. So
Very cool.
Yeah, this weekend I'm going to just drive the Z06, have a little bit of fun.
All right. Now, it's been a little remiss of me. I haven't introduced you properly for anyone who's been living under a rock or hasn't got the internet for the last 2 years. We've got Mr. Keith Haney, the man whose name doesn't need to be said. As I said earlier, owns 8 car dealerships now in America, Honda one, I think a few GM and some others. You can correct me when I get to the end. Obviously, the owner of Keith Haney Racing, the co-owner with his lovely wife of a few snow cone shacks, owner-driver of Enigma and Nitrous, 2 of the scariest race cars out there, and social media and internet cheeky person and all-round good guy. Did I cover most things?
I appreciate that.
So, Keith, we've been playing a little bit of catch-up since PRI. My screen's frozen with you, so I hope you haven't gone out of range. No, there you're back.
I'm back.
Excellent.
Probably me, I'm driving, so.
Okay, so we've been playing a little bit of catch-up since PRI. You've been an incredibly busy man, as I said, with all of those businesses, plus, in the immortal words of Donald Long, you've had more hits than Elvis with poor old Enigma. So you've been working hard on getting it ready for this weekend.
Yeah, I've got, my guys have done a real good job. I've been going through a few things there, and personally, so I haven't had really a time to really mess with it, but I had Larry Jeffers race cars. They got on it. Of course, it was insured. First time I've used the insurance, and of course, they ain't paid yet. But you know what? I finally just said to heck with it, get the car done. Larry Jeffers and his crew up there at Larry Jeffers Race Cars, they got it all done. 5-star bodies, got me a body out real quick. Lucas Oil got me all my oils and my additives. Then I had Dale Hancock and his 2 boys. He's a good father figure. Not father figure, he's a good father, good role model for 2 young boys, Trey and Cal. And those boys have been working their butts off, getting the car ready and cleaned and windows out, getting it wrapped, stocking, putting nitrous. I mean, they've just been working hard. And then, of course, my co-tuner, Brandon Pez, he got the motor in it. He went up to Larry's, got the motor in it, got the tranny in it, got everything ready to go, and got it down here to get it wrapped at Kryptonite Customs. They finished it yesterday, and the kids are over today putting the car together. Well, I've got some stuff that I'm doing, and then they'll load it up this afternoon. And I hadn't had any time to test the car, and which kind of stinks. But you know what? When I went to Lights Out 7 last year, I didn't I didn't test really at all either. So it's not like it's something that I'm not used to. You know, we went up there and we made a little bit of noise, not a little bit of noise. We made a whole lot of noise. But I don't see any different going on to this one. You know, I hit the wall a couple, 2 or 3 times, but you know what? That's just part of it. If you're trying to go fast, you're going to live on the edge. So them cars with that small tire and making the horsepower that, you know, that Enigma makes, you know, we got a little update in the motor area over this time last year too. So, you know, we wasn't even really trying to turn it up. We never tried to turn it up last year, and it went 89 at 195, 389 at 195. You know, with a 4, and I think someone went with a 1 and ended up taking number 1 qualifier away from us out on Friday night. So didn't matter. I went 4 rounds, more than most radial racers or radial versus the world racers have ever been. So I think I did pretty good for the first time ever been in a radial car. And, you know, the car wrecked in March. I wasn't driving it. Had another guy driving it. It wrecked in March. And then here in September, right at the end of August, I ended up hitting the wall again. We found the issues now, so we'll get through that. But I ended up hitting again, and I didn't get to make the race for October after Donald and all his puppets. You know, they like to do all them memes and videos and all that crap and songs, big keys. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but anyway, this time we're gonna make it. You know, we'll have a merchandise trailer out there. We'll have of course, Enigma will be there. Brandon Schweitzer is Schweitzer Dynamics, him and Brandon Pez tuned together. So looking forward to seeing what these guys can do. I think they're gonna shock the world with me driving it. You know, at the end of the day, all I do is let go of a button and try to drive the car a little bit. But those are the guys that make it go down the racetrack, and the horsepower by Rear Morrison, and then the transmission by Mark Mickey, which is a fellow radial versus the world racer, and couldn't ask for a better guy than him. Mark Mincer, he's got my shocks and my struts all ready to go, and you know, my sponsors Racing Junk and Total Seal, Pistons and Rings, and I could go on and on about all the sponsors, but you know, I couldn't do it without them, that's for sure.
We all know how valuable sponsors are. We know that you put a lot of effort and money in. Donald is putting up some big money this coming weekend for you to take away, and hopefully you can. Can you talk to us, Keith, a little bit about, I think I read a quote that last year when you tagged the wall, you said the comment that you didn't respect the tyre. Can you tell us a little bit about the difference of driving a radial tyre and such a small tyre in however many thousand horsepower you guys are pumping out?
Well, like for instance, the big tire car, you know, when you leave the starting line, you let go. The chassis do a little bit different. The chassis on a big tire car goes down, and of course it's, you know, just picks up. So as it's going through it, you can feel the shake zone in a big tire because it'll start paddling and start knocking your jaws off. But the radial tire being so strong, stiff and everything, smaller tire, takes less to rotating. Our biggest issue was when I tagged the wall was when the lockup come in, it'd take the tire off because we run a lockup in the tranny. But it would take the tire off and it bulldoze the front nose, and the back tire would come off and left I'd go. So, you know, that's a weight distribution and a balancing situation. And of course, the extension of my rear shocks wasn't as long as it needed to, so I topping it out. So with a radial tire, you go the opposite direction. It picks up, pushes the tire down on the ground. So when I say I didn't respect it, the tire got loose, and because it's such a small tire and you got all that horsepower, I really couldn't feel it. You know, as I went on now, I can start to feel the tire come loose. But again, we haven't really been able to get after it. And now that we've got all our shock issues and 4-link changed a little bit, took a little bite off the start line, put some out on the middle of the track, you know, and then, you know, and applying the lockup in a better position. Maybe that's their deal. I'm an idiot when it comes to that stuff. All I do is let go of the button. Here's what my race team tells me: write the checks, clean the car, and drive it. Other than that, don't touch the damn thing.
Well, mate, you're in the motor game, and Henry Ford was a pretty successful, smart guy, and he worked on a very similar theory that if he was the smartest guy in the room, he was in the wrong room. So organising yourself with a great team and surrounding yourself with great people is how racing's done.
Here you go. We'll show him a car.
Oh, gosh. Can you bring that over here?
Yeah.
Well, it's not quite an Enigma, but I'm sure it's not a bad ride.
No, it's not a bad ride at all. It's fun to do, Sorry, I'm walking in my dealership here. You can see my other play toy.
All right, now I've got my wife Nicole's answering a few questions on the side. Oh,
that's my little play toy right there. 1969 Camaro 302. Then you got the 2017 right there, and then so I'm in my dealership now.
So you've got enough toys to keep you entertained when you're not at the racetrack.
Yeah, walk in my office here. My phone might be going dead, so I better plug it in here.
All right. Now you've mentioned a couple of times about putting that much horsepower through the little tire. We've got some pretty cool races over here. Some of them are on the line right at the moment, and we don't have a lot of nitrous cars in Australia, a lot of big horsepower nitrous cars in Australia like you guys do. But one young man who's on the line today, he's asked me to ask you, how much nitrous are you tipping into that engine?
Well, we got two 15-pound bottles, carbon fiber bottles, because they're lighter. So we have two 15-pound bottles, and we use we usually start them out at about 25 pounds per bottle, and we'll come back and we'll use probably on a good run probably close to 6 pounds of nitrous.
Okay, and are they direct port injection because you're running fuel injection, of course?
Say that again. Fuel injection, yeah, it's done by Motec, and that's Brandon Schweitzer has helped Motec design a package called an M1. So for those that don't know what an M1 is, an M1, he basically designed it just for nitrous. So when you do it just for nitrous, you don't have all that other stuff in there for turbos and things like that. So he designed it. It's called an M1, and for those that are looking to get in the world of nitrous, and you want to go fuel injection, I would strongly suggest you go to call Brandon Schweitzer, because that's the only place you can buy it. So okay. Call Brandon Schweitzer and order you one. I mean, he helps you out. He's got great customer service, and then probably the best part about it is he calls it dummy proof. So it's no different than the way they've always done it back in the day. You put it in a spreadsheet, you'd have your fuel and your nitrous, and then it would calculate, and you go plug it into you'd go plug it in. Well, all you do is copy and paste it in. So whatever you put in there, you really can't mess up. And I think it even has if you don't have it right, it won't allow you to do it. So it'll give you an error.
Okay. And as far as the nitrous side is concerned, you talked about how many pounds of nitrous oxide actually goes through the engine over the pass. Do you rate how many horsepower you're adding? Is it in multiple stages and kits?
Well, I mean, again, I just drive the car, pay the bills, and they really don't let me touch anything, and I really don't ask any questions, because at the end of the day, I can ask the question, but I ain't gonna know what to do with it. Okay. So I like to be a dummy when it comes to I'm posting something here. Live in Australia.
So you've paid the guys who know what they're doing, and you're leaving it up to them.
Yes.
you know, I really don't want to know, because then I have an opinion, and I'd rather not have an opinion. And then if something goes wrong, well, guess what? Then it's on them, not me. That's what I always tell them. They always say thanks, but you know, it's just the way I've always been. You know, it's kind of like the dealerships. You know, you have your management team and you have your staff below them, and all that. You know, if you don't give them the reins to do what they need to do, I don't micromanage. So basically, that's the way it is. It's no different. I treat it just like I do the dealerships. I have my key people. They run their deal, and we go for. And the only people I talk to is the ones that are key. You know, from there, they dictate from there, and that's how it works. And usually, it works out pretty good.
Take the same business approach to your racing that you take to your car business.
Say that again.
You take the same business approach to your race car program that you take to your dealership program.
Absolutely. It's no different.
It's just another business.
You know, people win. Those that make the least mistakes when it comes to drag racing, those who make the least mistakes are usually the ones who win.
All right.
You got to have a little bit of luck there, but if you've got your stuff together, you can win.
So you'll be looking to make very few mistakes this coming weekend to take some of Donald's money then?
Well, I'm going to break every one of their backs. That's what I'm doing. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I just want to win. I don't care about nothing else. Just want to win.
And can we push you to a number? What do you think you're going to run?
You know, with a little bit of there's been some 60s that's been ran by somebody, but you know, when you start running numbers that are, when you don't have clocks or weight scales and things like that, it makes it hard for me to believe a lot of the numbers that are out there. In competition, I've only seen Stevie's fastest number. And then I believe Barry Mitchell just did, and it was but I can't remember if it was in testing or not. But I don't believe a record's a record unless it's in competition. That's how I believe it. Or in qualifying. You know, you do it in qualifying, you do it during the race, then to me that's a record. There's a lot of key factors that can go in with certain numbers. Like I said, I own a racetrack. I posted a video the other day. You know, you can lengthen out the rollout on the starting line. You can shorten up the clocks on the finish line. You can also have if you're supposed to weigh 2,400, you may weigh 23. I mean, nobody really knows. So that's why I always give everybody a hard time. When it's done in competition, I'll be the first one to go up and congratulate you. But until then, I don't see. I got to see it to believe it. And right now, I know Stevie went a 75, and then I think Barry Mitchell went a 74. And I can't remember if Barry did it in qualifying or in competition, but it was at a good race. So, I mean, I believe Barry Mitchell earned it. So I'll give him that. And then I heard a 60 somewhere. I don't know who it was, but I haven't been on Facebook much and the social world. Like I said, I've been going through a few issues. So I've tried to distance myself a little bit, but the race is coming up and it's time to get back after it.
Awesome. All right. So an 89's as fast as you've gone. I believe we've got another Australian racer following along this morning, and he's got the quick, unless I'm wrong, and someone I'm sure will jump in and type straight away if I make a speech error, but he's gone 4:38 at 178, and that's as quick as we've gone out here on a radial, I believe. He's building a new car. We're going to talk to him tomorrow, I believe, and I'd be really interested to get the comparison between you and him about, you talked earlier about the radial tyre being a different tyre, having to respect that. The chassis are also different. Is that a correct statement, the way the car is actually built and set up?
Well, mine was built a little bit differently than others. Mine was purposely built for a radial, which was the only car of a Pro Mod stature that was purposely built. You can go back and look at it when Donald was hanging on my nutsack you can go back and see that that car was purposely built just for radials. Although I could put a big tire under it because there's so much room. Then you started seeing everybody else. Well, hell, Keith did it. So I don't know if you all remember, but in February of last year, I was basically going faster than anybody. So, and then everybody started stepping up their game, and all throughout the year, everybody got faster and faster and faster. Well, I believe that I kind of forced the issue that, hey, here's a guy that's never been on a radial, comes to his very first race, goes 389, goes 4 rounds of racing, and we've been doing it for, 10, 15, 20 years, and we ain't even been that fast. So there's quite a few guys out there now that have surpassed my ET, and rightfully so. I've only raced one race with Enigma. It's the most known race car in drag racing, and I've been to one race.
So are you suggesting, Keith, that perhaps you're reasonably good at this marketing, promoting type of deal?
Well, there's a lot of things. I mean, when I went out and I started talking smack at the beginning, but I let the news out 2 weeks before the race, which is exactly how I had it planned. And my sponsors, again, Lucas and Racing Junk and Total Seal and Larry Jeffers and every Kryptonite Custom, all the people that are on my car, Rear Morrison. I told them, I said, I don't want anybody to know. Well, I built that car. My crew didn't even know I built that car. So when I come out with a lot of noise, said I'm going to go down there and bust everybody's ass. So they started jumping on everything and saying, hey, he ain't even going to qualify. He ain't going to do nothing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, that makes it even better. So on Wednesday night, February, on a Wednesday night, which is the first round of qualifying, I go out there and go 389. Closest one to me was a 95 or something. And that's when Donald Long and his whole posse crew of his puppets, all's mouths dropped and didn't know what to say. And that car made a point. And then I hit the wall. I mean, it shows you what kind of a race team that Keith Haney Racing really is, with the whole crew and everybody. We're in Q2 and we bust the wall, and then we have CFM manufacturer come over and they work their butts off getting the car back. We got the car back together. We had guys coming in from North Carolina with headers and welding stuff. They duct taped me in the door. The whole car was put together with Gorilla Black duct tape. So then we go out to Q3, and I really didn't want to drive it, but I thought, well, what the heck, because I didn't know how bad I hurt it. So we went out there, took tire off, and I went ahead and went down the track to make sure it drove good and it was driving straight, and it did. So then we go into Q4 and we run a 390 or whatever it was, and then we go into round one, and I end up beating Fletcher Cox, a good friend of mine, him and Sean Ayers. I end up beating them first round, and then Faraday, he gets his door stolen. I'm supposed to run him. Somebody had stole his door. So I end up racing him, and then somebody else, and then I get Ferris. In his car. He goes 409 or whatever it was, and I go 394. I was super late on the tree, and I ended up going out that round. But I had the fastest car on the property last year in February, and there's going to be a lot of players this year. Everybody stepped up their game, and I'm excited about it. The only difference is they've had all year to be working on their program, and here I am coming blind again. But you know what? You got to show up and show out. I got some T-shirts that say it.
So you've got a racetrack. You said, we spoke about Tulsa Raceway Park, and yet you haven't done any testing. I mean, most people would kill to have their own private test track.
Well, it's funny. I co-own it with Todd Martin, the general manager's Big Don, and I bet I haven't tested at that track. You could probably count it all on one hand, and I've been a co-owner of it for 4 years now, and I've probably tested 5 times. Now, I've tested during a race, but I'm talking about just the track itself, just me, maybe 5 times in 4 years. So I'm not a big test guy, never have been. Probably should, but heck, I just don't have the time to do it. I got baseball, football, 8 car dealerships, family at home, and a lot of other things that I do. So, it's hard for me to balance all that and go test it.
Now, just cast my eye down to the comments section. A good friend of yours, I believe, Mr. Keith Berry.
Keith Berry, what the heck? I don't even think Keith Berry's racing, is he?
Good friend of yours. Well, he suggested that this is his lights out 7 memories I won.
He's okay. It says.
I think that's what he said. It just popped off my screen. Just
he got lucky. It's okay. Keith Berry. He's I'm not gonna talk him down. He's a good dude. Actually is. I consider him a friend. So he did. He come in there and busted that ass. I got to give him that. He was ready against Stevie in the final round, which was good. He had his stuff together, but he come in blind basically too, the same way last year, and he come in with the new motor program and everything. But now he can't really talk. I mean, if he shows up at the race, fine, line up next to me. I ain't scared. He might be scared to line up next to me.
Well, we might be able to get Nicole to keep an eye out if he types in whether he's going to come and try and lay some times on you or what his plan is. But, mate, I am so grateful for your time this morning. I know how ridiculously busy you are. As I said, we've been playing tag now for 3 months. As Keith. No, I can't see what he said. So he's laughing. Okay, he's laughing. Well, we'll see who's laughing after next weekend.
That's exact. Oh, he said he's laughing. Oh, well, yeah. Show your ass up. Let's see let's just put him out there, baby. I ain't scared. The only thing that can happen is I don't qualify, I don't win, or I win, and I bust everybody's ass. It just is what it is.
Now, Nicole's telling me that, is it Billy Driscoll?
Billy Driscoll? He ain't nothing but a puppet. Billy's a puppet for Donald Long. Him, Troy, all them boys, they're all little puppets.
Well, that would
hang on his nutsack. I mean, they just want to be a part of. He's a ticket, but he's just a ticket man.
Well, it does. That will give some credence to his comment and saying, questioning you going in blind, something about you did 30 laps before Orlando. At Orlando.
What? No, I did some hits to the 330. Everybody tried to figure out what I ran. I knew what I ran. All I cared about was I was going to 60 foot in the 330. So I was pretty much out of every time at the 330. We were working on down low numbers. And, again, last year I go the fastest any nitrous car or pretty much any car has been. I went 981. I went 984 60 foot and then went 981 60 foot, and that's kind of a number that we were shooting at. We should go we're hoping to go in the 70s at this race. And, and then finally, heck, I had, 26 passes on that radial motor, and the worst hole leaked a 22. So we never did lean on the car. So we'll find out. And, they also lowered it 100 pounds, I think, is the weight break or something, and for the nitrous cars. So if they did that, if you take that 89, take 100 pounds off, you got a 79, right?
Have you got an easy 100 pound to lose?
Oh, we had it. Well, I had stack 152 pounds, plus I'm down 20 pounds right now. I've lost 20 pounds myself, so that's 170 pounds. So I'll be able to I'm going to have to add some weight, but the best part about it is I can get it below the minimum weight. Okay. The car was built just for radial.
All right. I think we should let you get back to making some money. I know the truck's heading out shortly.
Yeah. Smoke, but didn't inhale come, brother. I like Billy Driscoll. He's all right.
That would be a Clinton reference. Is that correct?
That would be it. That's correct.
There you go.
Well, I appreciate it. You thank you for having me on, and I look forward to next week and seeing all the fans. It's been kind of exciting to know how many fans that I have out there. Where our Facebook keeps growing. My Keith Haney Racing keeps growing. I think we're over 30,000 people that are that like the page. We're over 28,000 on Twitter. I think I'm over 8,000 on Instagram, and my Snapchat's blowing up. I don't know. I have 2,000 or 3,000 on Snapchat. So, our social media side of it's growing pretty big. And, having a merchandise trailer, not many car owners do that, but I have a full merchandise trailers that everybody can buy, from beanie hats to keychains. So, we're looking forward to going down there and being a part of Donald's race. It's one that you should always want to be a part of. That's for sure. It's one badass race. And I also want everybody to know, I'll tell them one other thing. Donald Long gave $5,000 to the Radio Revenge Tour for the Radio versus a World class. That is Tulsa Raceway Parks race, March 31st and April 1st. It's April Fool's Day. But it's a day-and-a-half show. We were done at 10 o'clock p.m. We ran the race during the day instead of at night. We don't believe in the long, drawn-out deals. So I want to thank Donald personally for throwing up $5,000. And I think we're going to do something. If you win Lights Out, you may get a free entry to our radio race. If you win that, if you double up and then go back to Lights Out and win, there'll be a chance. I think we're working on something right now with a sponsor that you could win up to $20,000 or something. We just have to. If you win all three races, you could get I think close to 20 grand. That's what we're working on.
Well, that's awesome, and you're working hard to make drag racing great again, and both of you putting your money where your mouth is. So, mate, if you win this deal, I want to talk to you.
I appreciate it very much. God bless everybody. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks so much, Keith. Have a great morning.
Thank you.
Ciao. Well, guys, there we have it. Keith Haney, Enigma. I think it's going to be a race that we all need to get behind. We need to have a look. Some great Aussie radio racers in this country working towards this new brand of racing. Keith's a pretty shy guy. It took us a lot of effort to get him on the line. He speaks his mind, which is what we like to see in drag racing. So thanks so much for getting up so early on a Sunday morning. We're going to head out now, I think, and go and get some breakfast and do some shopping. Stay safe on the drag strips. Make drag racing great again, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.